Thanks for being a part of In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, and very thankful to be in the studios provided by First Star Logistics. And our guest today, Center Ted Karras, natural-born leader, captain, every level of football, high school, college, National Football League, 2 different teams in the National Football League. He talks about leadership. He talks about how the offensive line, the chemistry is growing, it's developing. The offensive line, the graph is going up on a daily basis, not only a weekly basis. Talks about winning 2 in a row after getting off to the 0-2 start. Those 2 wins coming against the old rivals, the AFC East. Ted Karras having played New England and Miami. And then most importantly, getting ready to play the Ravens. Talks about that as well. Big division game on the road. You're going to like it. Welcome once again to In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. As always, coming to you from our outstanding studios, and they are the best. We also are joined by a guest who's the best, Ted Karras. This guy has made quite an impression, quite an impact on not just the Cincinnati Bengals, but the city, the community. This guy's the real deal. Good people. Welcome to the program again, sir, and appreciate you carving time for us.
Oh, thanks for having me on again, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. Obviously, after a good week, a little weekend off, and now we're back to business.
There you go. So in literally a 4-day period, Thursday night to Sunday, in the National Football League, to get 2 wins in that short a time frame, that's quite an accomplishment. And it's even the season out at 2-2. And being an old AFC East guy that you were, you had to feel like, yeah, I'm used to dominating the AFC. I'm 2-0 against the AFC East again.
No, that is fortunately very grateful for the fact that it is a familiar feeling. And, it's interesting to play, teams that I know really well. And, I've been in the same division for 6 years. So now the challenge is, as I'm starting my Ravens prep, I started my Ravens prep this weekend, getting to know teams that I don't know as well. I've only played these teams. I probably played the Steelers the most out of all of the AFC North teams, but it's not like I ever take anything for granted. But it's the familiarity is not there, so I'm really having to dive in personnel wise and scheme wise. So it's been fun.
And you being the football mind that you are, I'm sure that process is invigorating. It's like a new challenge, and that's always good. Let's talk about the Dolphins win first of all. What did you like best about what the offense did in that game against the Miami Dolphins?
Well, I think a great trend, and hopefully we can keep continuing, is starting fast, taking the lead, playing from the lead, and giving our defense the opportunity to play with the lead. I think, 2 drives to start both of those games with points is something that we would obviously like to continue. I thought we played great as a group. Obviously, there's a lot of things to work on, but a lot of people made big plays. Our defense is playing outstanding. So, we just got to keep doing our part here, and we're going to have a pretty good team.
Being a captain, you're involved in that process about what to do with the coin flip. And, the consensus was, like you said, okay, we hadn't played with a lead at all in the first 2 games of the season. Let's get a lead. And those first 2 games were losses. The 2 wins here, you've scored first on that first drive, and have taken command in the football game. I know every game's different. A lot of times it depends on matchups, where you feel the advantage would be. But do you see a trend continuing about if you do win the coin toss to take the football?
I'm not sure. That's Zach's decision. And he made that call, when we did take the ball in New York.
Yep.
But if that's how we're playing, that'd be great. I think that we have great strategists, upstairs, and they put together great plans for us these last 2 weeks. So, as long as we keep continuing to execute, we can, tailor our strategy to anywhere that the team is trending. So, I'm interested to see what we do. But my job really is to just execute the plays called, and I think we've had a good start already to Ravens prep.
So against the the Miami Dolphins, and in fact, for a good part of the season in the running game, it's just one little thing. It's like it's really an inch away from being something totally different. And it's a backside cutoff, or when on the double, maybe coming off, a little earlier than the other guy anticipated. Just little things, little details here and there. It's not like, oh man, this is a mess, let's junk this. It's so close. How frustrating is it that that you've been that close to busting some big time runs, or does it give you encouragement that, boy, we're that close and we're going to get it done?
I think it's more encouraging than frustration. And I think when we've needed to run the ball, we've come through to an extent this year so far. But, such is the business in this league. It's the ultimate team game. And, we're still kind of finding our identity in the run game. I would say that we found somewhat of an identity, but it is, like you said, the little things, little nuances, maybe a finish here or a better block there could change some of these 4-yard gains, 6-yard gains into 12, 18-yard runs. And at the end of the day, with a 50, 60% increase, instead of rushing for 80, you're rushing for 130. And that kind of, that changes the perception on the stat sheet a lot, and also will continue for us to, win time of possession, sustain drives, and keep ourselves out from the 3rd and 6 to 9 range, which is, typically the danger zone in the NFL as far as exotic fronts, blitzes, and pressures. So if we can play ahead of the sticks by, finishing our jobs a little bit better as blockers, I think that'll only serve us well.
I think your first 5 third down conversion opportunities against Dolphins were all 3rd and 1. So talk about staying ahead of the sticks. You guys did a hell of a job, and you converted every one of them. When you're looking at 3rd and 1 on a regular basis, man, that your whole playbook's open to you, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, that's just that's where we want to live. 3rd and 1 to 4, something where they have to play real defense. Real standard defense is what I mean, not some
right.
Recess drawing something up in the dirt. That it can get a little crazy. So those are higher conversion percentage, staying on the field, keeping our defense off the field, and then making them play defense, making them, defend long sustained drives that end in points is not only big on the scoreboard and the psychological factor, on the physical fatigue factor. So we have to keep continuing, playing good offensive football, controlling the ball, time of possession, and making them play defense.
And we both know, as me as a former lineman, you as a current outstanding lineman, 3rd and 1 to 4, man, it's easier to pass block then. You got you have play action pass threat. You have all kinds of things going. They have to definitely respect that run game. 3rd and 7 or more now, they're pinning the ears back. They're just coming. It's a one trick pony there, and it's brutal to pass protect these athletes. So being in that down and distance is critical, isn't it?
It is. And, I'm not opposed to sticking a run in there on 3rd and 7 ever, but, percentage wise, it's probably, lower than what you'd like especially with the guy we have administering the ball to our great playmakers. So, obviously whatever, we're charged with, we're going to, go out there and execute at our best. I think we have a great attitude on this O-line and offense as a unit. So, but if we can live in 3rd and short, 3rd and manageable, that's where we want to be. And that'll translate to a lot of success, down the stretch here.
Joe Burrow was effusive in his praise of the pass protection after the Dolphins' victory. And I thought it was outstanding. I thought he had not only time, he had space, he had vision, he had lanes. I mean, you guys really gave him some very, very nice pockets to operate under, and he performed when given that chance.
Absolutely. Joe's been playing outstanding. He's a great leader of us. He's very, nice, and, to his O-line. It was, that meant a lot to hear that from him, especially of a guy who plays at such a high level. And, he doesn't get enough credit too for some of the saves he makes, because, pass protection is not perfect, but if you go look at the film, I mean, he's an exceptional athlete, and he can extend plays. He's got the whole arsenal of an attacking QB. So it's been such a pleasure these 4 weeks to, play with them. I'm glad that we got 2 wins in a row. I'm very excited for this week of preparation, and, how we all come into work. It's exciting to go into work with this offense. Everyone's, ready to go, great demeanor. And it's just, we got to keep it going.
Let's look at the Baltimore Ravens a little bit. And I know you haven't even been at this point. We're talking to you on a Tuesday afternoon of a work week, and it's a normal week. It's not a short week like last week was. So you haven't been given game plans yet or anything like that, but you're already studying the Baltimore Ravens on a personal basis, going through your preparation protocols. When you flip on that Ravens defense and you start looking at that tape and breaking it down, what do you see?
Well, I see a big physical front. I mean, as we talked about, getting this division is a grinded out division with great defenses and great quarterbacks. So it's an interesting transition into this. But I see a lot of great personnel up front. Obviously led by their linebacker 6 Queen. So we have a challenge in front of us. Obviously, 93 Calais Campbell, been a great player for 14 years now, I think. So, so that, they have experience, they got Justin Houston, they have a lot of vets and some younger guys mixed in. So this is going to be a challenge personnel wise and scheme wise for us. So, we're going to need our best week of preparation thus far. This is a huge game, for at least a share of the division lead early on in the season. So, Sunday Night Football against a good team that we match up well against is going to be very exciting.
So Calais Campbell, like you talked about, I mean, the guy is he's definitely a freak of nature. There's no question about that. 6'8", 307 pounds. He's into his 15th year.
15th.
Yeah, 15. How about that? Out of Miami. And usually, I mean, the big long guys are on the edge. This is a rarity to have a guy, that's got arms the length of an octopus. I mean, it just seems like when he not only can grab your cantilever, your shoulder pad, he can kind of get down your backside with those long arms. He's kind of unique in that regard. Normally, I mean, there are some guys inside that have pretty good length. This guy's got exceptional length. What kind of a challenge does that present?
Well, obviously he's been a great player for a long time, and he'll line up anywhere, which has kind of been his signature for the entirety of his career. That's kind of been his versatility and player. But I think that's how they built this defense. If you look at their personnel, they got Brett Urban, a very large man, JPP, been a big force for a long time in the league as well. So, they have big bodies. And good personnel, good linebackers behind him. So it's going to take our best effort to, execute against these guys.
Now, I know you haven't been part of the Bengals have had pretty good success here lately against Baltimore. Swept them last year by a couple of big scores. So the Ravens will have a little blood in their eye. There's no question about it. Joe lit them up for big yards, probably over 700, almost 800 yards. He lit them up for last year. Don Wink Martindale is the coordinator. He's moved on to the New York Giants. The new guy is Mike McDonald. He's been there, left to go to Michigan and work with Jim Harbaugh, John's brother, and then came back to Baltimore. And Martindale would be like, first down, blitz. Second down, blitz. Third down, blitz.
Yeah.
Now, McDonald will blitz, but it seems to be he's a little less predictable when he's going to blitz. I mean, he runs cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. I mean, Wink was like a cover 1, I'm coming after you kind of guy, or he'll go, cover 0, come after your kind of guy. What when you're going against the defense that does have a heavy blitz mentality, do you like that? Do you like to go against a defense that has that aggressive mindset? Big play opportunities are there for you?
Well, I think against, the way that we run our offense and the playmakers that we have, at times you could encourage blitz because of the, dangerous ability. I mean, we have, four different guys who can, one play drives. You can end the drive in one play. So, that's great that we have that at our disposal. And it comes down to execution and knowing our assignments. And then, as we go into the week here, like you said, Wink Martindale's in New York. He is very blitz heavy. That was kind of like everyone gets a turn type of defense. This is more selective. And as we hone in on the tendencies and what they do and how they like to call their D, I'll get a better feel of how I personally would like to attack it, how I'm going to distribute the blockers. But really, it comes down to execution. And, if you're letting blitzes get home, you don't want to play a blitzing defense. But if you can pick it up, and when we do pick up blitzes, there are, huge opportunities down the field, whether that's cutting off the backside of a slanting D line and Mixon cutting it up, or, obviously Joey B, dialing it up downfield to, our dangerous receivers.
I know that complementary football is a big thing, and when you start to play complementary football, wins usually are a byproduct. There's no doubt about that. When a guy like Lamar Jackson is in the other huddle at the quarterback position, the dual threat that he is, he can beat you with his feet and his legs as well as his throwing arm. You like to try to limit his opportunities, and the Bengals are number 2 in the NFL in time of possession right now. Now, it's maybe distorted slightly. You had the full overtime, the extra 10 minutes, you had some time of possession there, but you'd still be top 10, probably top 8. That's a big factor, isn't it? I mean, keeping the other guy off the football field is a big part of what you're trying to get done, aren't you?
I think that's, just good, solid offensive strategy in general. But when you're playing a player like Lamar Jackson, who, he can sustain drives, in every type of way you can imagine. So to be able to keep him off the field, keep him out of scoring opportunities, is sound fundamental football. And our defense does such a great job. Obviously to score on every possession is unrealistic, but we do want to get at least a couple first downs, flip the field, and let our defense play with the lead and play, in the minus 20 range to start drives is very important. It's gonna be hard to go, all the way down the field on our defense consistently.
And you did a great job of that against the Dolphins. I mean, the average drive start, your average drive start was your 33-yard line. The Dolphins was their 23-yard line. And their Dolphins had 11 possessions, you had 12. So you're looking at 110, 120 yards of hidden yards, and when it's over a football field of those hidden yards and you're backing them up and making them go long field consistently, and by takeaway or special teams, you're getting short fields. I mean, that's what it's all about. And that's a big factor in any football game, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, I don't know the yardage to points, breakdown, but that has a big factor at the score at the end of the game, and where you start these possessions. And I want to give a shout out to Jeff Gunter, talking about complimentary football, blocking a big kick.
Yep.
Again, special teams coming through for us, and then Evan nailing a 57-yarder, no doubt. So those are another 2 great advantages that we have. If we can, all 3 units stepping up, playing at the peak of their performance, is going to be a tough challenge and put pressure on every opponent that we face.
So where, as an offensive line, as a starting unit, like we talked about, you guys are all successful football players at this level in the National Football League. You've got Super Bowl rings. You have 2. Kappa has 1. Everybody's played at a high level, knows what it's supposed to look like, and how close is it coming? And time on task, there's no substitute for repetition. Repetition breeds comfort level, and time on task involved with all that. How close is it coming, though, Ted? You guys starting to feel pretty good about what the guy next to you is doing and how he's doing it?
I think so. I've had it's been awesome to play with these guys, and I think I've developed a pretty good rapport with everyone, especially my 2 guards, Cordell and Cap. I would say one of the biggest awesome things that happened is just Alex Cappa's football knowledge. That I didn't know Alex from anything. I've obviously watched him play in Tampa for his career, but the amount of football acumen that he has and the physical traits that he have, make it easy on me. It's like having another center out there, and he does a great job recognizing what defenses want to do. We bounce ideas off each other constantly, what we're seeing, what we're thinking, and then he backs it up with great physical play. But that has just been such an advantage to me, coming into this new offense as a center, to have a guy like that next to me who, is just another brain on the task of, identifying and distributing blockers. Because, the biggest thing for success in the run game and in offense in general is just getting a hat on the hat. And, the way that defenses are structured now, that can be a challenge at times. So to be able to distribute blockers and have him helping me and assisting in anything that we see has been awesome.
And then on the other side, you have a guy that's got all the experience and the knowledge and the intelligence, like you say. And then the young bucks, he's advancing pretty quickly. I mean, I think his graph is going up pretty quickly. I mean, he seems to have football acumen. It's important to him. There's no question about that. I think he feels very fortunate to have somebody like you on to his right side at that left guard position that he can lean on and and get an answer to any question that he may have. How's that relationship developing?
Oh, Cordell's done a fantastic job. I mean, I can't even. He's so much farther ahead than I was as a rookie. It's like a joke. And he's just done an outstanding job. I mean, he's a mountain of a man who works hard every day and just, brings it. And we've played some, really good D lines to start his career. And, to put the film that he has on tape already, I'm very proud of him. And he's just going to continue to get better. He's the kind of guy that you're thrilled that you have him locked in your organization for years to come, because he's only going to get better and, end up being a leader and a force, on this team, on this unit for a long time to come.
You're right, though. Both of the guards on either side of you, it's like when you see Cappa from a distance or Volson from a distance, like, yeah, that's a big dude. And then you get closer and closer. That's a very big dude.
Well, I was watching the film of the Dolphins game, plus Raekwon Davis on the nose guard of the Dolphins. He's 6'8", so on the film I look like I'm 5'8" compared to these three guys. I'm surrounded by these three guys. Everyone's a half head taller than me. It's just interesting. But yeah, no, we have a very big O line, and want to give a shout out to our tackles too, LC and Jonah. I think they're doing a great job. Jonah being the rock that he is. I mean, first player under Zach Taylor's, regime.
Yep.
And he's just been fantastic, helping Cordell. And he's another big part of the success that we've had early on in the season.
No question about it. So you get elected captain, no surprise. You got tremendous leadership qualities. In your mind, what's the definition of a leader?
I think leadership is best expressed by service. Whether, in camp, if guys have rides or, this league, there's guys shuffling in and out, and, what guys need. I'm not, I guess I am a little bit of rah-rah, but that's just kind of naturally. I'm not a big speech guy. But I do bring a lot of energy. But I think overall, leadership is about service. What do your guys need to be successful? How can you help them to succeed? And how can you help each individual in the organization, perform at their very best, whether that even means just making them feel welcome in the morning or bringing some energy, a smile, a let's go. So, there's a lot of things that entail with it. I really take it very seriously. It's the second time I've been voted captain, in the National Football League. It's an honor of a lifetime. So, I want to keep it winning here, and I want to, be able to, help lead a team with so many great leaders too. We have just, not even including all the captains, we have so many, great men in the organization. It's really, really easy for me. I almost feel like, it's like, I want to, I spread around all types of vocality, especially on our O line with Kappa, LC, Jonah. I think more of, my captain role is being either bringing the energy or facilitating anything that our guys need to be successful on game day.
I will say, I've been around a lot of locker rooms, around a lot of different football players over the years. You are so consistent with the energy you bring. I mean, you are the same guy in that regard every single day, no matter what the weather is, no matter what happened that morning, no matter what happened the night before. I mean, you bring the energy on a consistent basis. And man, that's got to be, your teammates are thankful for that. Have you been a captain at every level, high school, college, and now in the NFL?
I have. Very fortunate. I've had a lot of great teammates and been on a lot of great teams. So
that's pretty cool, though. I mean, that obviously, is big time justification Not that you needed to have that, but I mean, the way you approach the game of football, other people have basically responded to it, and in so doing, naming you a captain at every level of football, and that's quite a tribute. There's no question about it. So you've been around this league a long time. Team starts off 0-2. Could have won both football games. You guys could be sitting at 4-0 right now. There's no doubt about it. It's a talented football team. But you can't go back in the past. I mean, it's like that's over. You got to now you're in the present. Now you're moving on to the future. And you were a big deliverer of that message. It's like, hey, and I can remember you saying, hey, in a 5-day period, we could be back to even Steven. And you were right on the money.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you can't get caught up in too much about, what's happened in the past. I think this weekend was awesome. The Thursday game was great to even it up and feel good, that a little taste of, victory. And then you get to kind of the weekend off, watch everyone else on the hot seat. So, we took our weekend, we enjoyed it. I hope everyone, I'm sure everyone enjoyed it. Everyone was in great spirits yesterday as we reconvened for work. But, now it's all fleeting. So now we got to worry about the next one. We got the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday night, and we want to repeat what we do, and then you get your little moment to enjoy that, and it's on to the next one. It's a long season, and I think one thing that we're it's going to start, we're going to start talking about is just competitive stamina. I think that's a big factor in this league, especially for younger players or guys who don't know, coming from the college ranks. And even guys who, have been in the league a while, the ability to, be scrutinized for your performance and compete at a high level and win every single day is a huge factor for the success of the team. So I think we have a lot of that. And, I'm going to, help in any way I can to, continue our competitive stamina, because we still have, there's 13 games left in the season. That's a lot of football to be played, and it's very exciting.
13 weeks of trying to be 1-0, as many of those as you possibly can. That's the goal for sure. So you've been around the game, in my mind, a city that the fans are just unbelievable. Fan comes from the word fanatic. And in Boston and the New England area, they are fanatic. I mean, they love their sports. Yeah. They love their football. So you've been around some great crowds. Miami, I'm sure, very supportive of the Dolphins as well. What did you think of the crowd Thursday night? The biggest crowd in franchise history shows up Thursday night, the whiteout. You guys are out there in all white, the white helmets. Man, it was clean. It was a crisp look, and the place is going nuts. Miami has to burn 2 first quarter timeouts because of the crowd noise. It's like, wow, man, this is great. How did it compare? I mean, was it one of the best environments you played in, Ted?
Absolutely. Absolutely electric. Unbelievable. Such a fun, kicking off Paycor Stadium with a attendance record, and the fans were outstanding, unreal to see. My family had an amazing time, and really, when your crowd is like that, you really just want to deliver a good product and deliver a victory. So very grateful that, we put the White Tigers on, got a victory, and, we could kind of start that tradition. There's always a little pressure. You're wearing an alternate uniform to get a win. So glad we could get that done. And, now we're, back to our oranges, which is going to be great going into, a hostile environment in Baltimore. Going to be very exciting.
Joe Burrow was mentioning that after Von Bell's interceptions, the crowd was so crazy. He said, I had to almost go silent count. He said the crowd noise was amazing with that. But you don't mind dealing with that, because, I mean, that's a good thing, what's going on right there, right?
Absolutely. And, as we'll continue to work together too, fans and the offense, because they were absolutely, it was definitely, I heard a couple people that I talked to in the city said it sounded like, a storm, like a huge wave crashing over the city, when they were away from the stadium. So that's really a special thing and going to be huge. We have a lot of late home games that are going to be, late in the season home games that are going to be high stakes, big time games. So that's definitely going to be an advantage for us. And, I don't mind at all a little bit of noise on offense as well.
There you go. And now you go to Baltimore for a Sunday night tilt. When you go to Cleveland, that's nationally televised. When you go to Pittsburgh, that's nationally televised. So all 3 division road games aren't just road environments, but it's going to be crazy. It'll be the opposite. You guys offensively will have to be dealing with a lunatic crowd and crowd noise and all that sort of thing. How tough is that? How tough is trying to keep your head about you, keep your wits about you with all that crowd noise?
Well, I think that the biggest onus for me in an away environment is consistency with my silent count indicators. I think for the biggest thing is the tackles, just to be able to get off on the snap. And we don't, we obviously have a few different variations so that a defender can't get a beat on when I am going to pull the ball. So, we practice that every day. Every away practice when we're going into an away environment. So, we had 2 away games early on that were, big for that. So, we've obviously done it before, but, this is going to be probably our loudest, test coming up, and, going to be a challenge, but, something that we're going to prepare for very hard every day this week.
So I guess I'll get you out of here on this, and appreciate you carving a good bit of time for us on a day where you want to be with family and spend some time and continue that rest and recovery of the body and the mind. Thank you for visiting with us in that scenario. Cincinnati, everything you thought it would be, or the Bengals, everything you thought it would be when you decided to come here, Ted?
Even better, Dave. And I'll always come on your show. No problem. I got 30 minutes for Dave Lapham. But Cincinnati's been unbelievable. My neighbors are just fantastic. It's so nice to be back. I'm an hour and 45 minutes away from my parents' house, the house I grew up in. So, it's just been awesome. And then the organization as a whole has been so welcoming, so generous, and it just makes me want to do, my very best for not only the Bengals organization, but for this city and this whole area as a whole. So very excited. Week 5 NFL season kicking off. And, I'll see you tomorrow, Dave.
I'll see you tomorrow, Ted. And I can speak, I got a son and a daughter that are both older than you, Ted. I'm an old guy, but I will say that I can identify with your dad, who's a hell of a coach himself. He's got to be proud as hell about his son, and now he gets his son's closer, his son and his wife, his family, everybody's right there. I can speak to, parent and grandparent aspect of things. Your whole family's thrilled, man. This is a big deal for the Karras family.
No, it is. And it's been so nice to see, my family every weekend, and in a way less stressful way. Boston was, a 16-hour drive, and then Florida, is 24-hour drive from Cincinnati. So, it's so nice to, be able to, have them stay at my house and be with me. And, I owe them so much. So it was such a relief. I didn't even realize I needed it until I got back and felt that weight off my shoulders. So it's been awesome.
That's great, Ted. You deserve it. And you're playing really good football. You're leading the football team as well as it can be led. So congratulations on the start. But I know it's just the start, and I know there are big things ahead. Appreciate your time, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dave. I can't wait to come back on, hopefully in a few weeks here.
Absolutely. We'll get it done.
Bye.
Thanks.
At First Star Logistics, we're a very strict company that really puts the pressure on our employees. Breaks? What are those?
That's what I'm talking about, Icky. Get the body right, then the mind's right.
Gotta get that body right.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Become a star with a chance to earn the highest commission percentages in the industry as a freight broker agent. Check out firststarlogistics.com.